Hello and welcome. My name is Brenna Powers, and in this video I'm going to tell you I am the perfect match for the sales consultant role at the Wellness Retreat. So to tell you a little bit about my history and making and rebuilding of the self, as a kid, I was always a big feels kid, and I loved being a child. I was wonderful at all the things that are the landmarkers of success at an early age, making friends, being kind, being empathetic, being a good person, being honest. But then when school started to happen and standardized tests happened, and when we're comparing each other to other people and the competitiveness and basically training kids for the rat race, I started to really get a lot of anxiety around performing, public speaking. I also had a undiagnosed learning disability. Like many kids of the 90s, I was misdiagnosed ADHD. I believe I was actually just anxious, and that was my dissociation was a result of that. And of course, being a sign of the times and basically everyone I knew, I was prescribed Ritalin, very on trend. I loved the bump. I loved suddenly the things that were less interesting were more interesting, but it did rid me of my empathy and all the things that made me my authentic self as a kid. I stopped working for a while, then I was prescribed Adderall, then that wasn't working, then I was prescribed Dexedrine, and then that wasn't working, so I was prescribed Adderall XR with a sleeping pill at 17. It sounds really crazy now, but that's what was happening. And as long as my grades were improving, that's what was mattering to me and my parents. But I definitely felt a dis-ease. I felt an awkwardness within myself. I didn't know where I fit in or who I was, and would attract situations that were not beneficial to my overall growth. Like I was enamored with shopping, sugar, gossip, you name it. And I think this comes down to chasing the dragon of being chemically dependent on pharmaceuticals. College happened, and that was a great awakening. I learned all about consumerism, capitalism, Marxism, socialism, and I poured my heart into this. And then that's when I decided that the only business that I would ever be doing would be something I believed in and something that I would buy myself. I would never sell anybody anything that I wouldn't authentically want. So I went to beauty school. I started a few businesses having to do with community, connectivity, and touch. It's very much body working. I had a wedding business. I had a freelance business. I had a house call business in COVID. And the favorite thing that I loved about that was my clients that I had over a decade, clients that I had longer than that, seeing their milestones, seeing them grow, seeing their progress. And that can carry on to anywhere. Another motivation for me is right now in our society, there is a war on love. And plant medicine is a great way to unravel that. We have social media, we have dating apps, we have AI, deep fakes, we have narcissism, we have people trying to sell us things at every angle. And it's getting us farther away from our authentic self. My experience with plant medicine, as I mentioned briefly, started in college when I, like a lot of other kids, tried mushrooms and marijuana. It helped me reconnect to nature. I actually after a mushroom trip, decided that I wanted to do cross country. And sometimes I would run barefoot. It just felt like the most natural thing. It helped me fall in love with my partner and empathize them. And most recently, my experience has been that a few years ago, I had 2 miscarriages in a year. And I was inconsolable. I just felt grief leave my body, something alive and then unalive in my body. And I really lost touch with who I was, my joy, my purpose, my chi, for lack of a better word. And then I entered a ketamine therapy, and that really helped me slow down in real time and watch my emotions and just let go of that grief. So I'm a proponent. My questions for you is, what are your plans for expansion in the future? Is this going to be the only retreat you have? Or are you going to have a lot of different locations? What is the commission breakdown? And how expensive each of the packages are? I know the point is to redirect them to a salesperson, but I was just curious on my end. And then what the aftercare is after the treatments. Like, does it just stop there, or do you follow up with them, a month or 2 or 3 months? And how many people you have seen come through your clinic? And what sets you apart from a lot of other, companies that do the same thing? I think that's it. And I hope you've gotten to know me a little better. And I'm excited to change the world.